what's so dangerous? They say dangerous. What's dangerous about a black man saying that white lives matter? It's only dangerous if you buy into the leftist lie that anything other than Black Lives Matter, which, by the way, was a trademark Black Lives Matter. And if you look at the nonprofits and you look at the embezzling that took place, you look at people who've actually been charged, convicted with fraudulent financial crimes with the Black Lives Matter organization. If you don't buy what they sell wholesale, Black Lives Matter, anything else is considered racist. Anything else is considered white supremacy. Speaking of pandering, CNN now, and if they're forced to admit something that is harmful to Democrats, then you know it must be really bad. They've admitted that black voters are in very large numbers leaving the party. And then I want to, again, it's not what you read, but it's what is being omitted, because CNN acted in unison with the New York Times, but they tried to take the edge off of how bad it really is. Here's CNN's admission.
Look, black voters are the core part of the Democratic Party. And as you can see here in the race for Congress, look, they're still getting 74% support in the pre-election polling right now. But compare that to the final polling for 2020 president and 2018 Congress. Back in 2020, it was 84%, 85% in 2018. So you're clearly seeing right here that there is less support for Democratic candidates for Congress among African Americans.
Okay, now bring up the collage that we have from the New York Times. They also covered this, and I don't know, just like we ask, what are the chances of all major social media platforms removing Alex Jones within the same 24-hour period? What are the chances that you have all these news agencies running this story at the same time within, let's say, 48 hours of each other, or 3 days of each other, same week, and only going back the exact amount, the exact period of time? So they all go back to 2018.
Interesting.
And even then, they say, look, 85%, so it's pretty bad now if it's in the 70s. Yeah, okay. Where else do you see polling that just goes back to a primary? You don't even go back to the last national election. Let's look at the numbers. They're even worse for Democrats. Again, the trend is what matters here. Let's go past 2018 and 2016. 88% blacks supported Democrats versus 8% Republican. You go back even further, 2012, 93% of blacks were Democrats. Go back to 2008, 95%. So 2008 to now, we've gone from 95%. What was the most recent number there? 75?
Yeah.
75? 95 to 75. If you just go back to 2018, well, it seems like, okay, this could be a problem. If you actually understand 2008, you go back that far to today, you say, we are hemorrhaging voters. It's not starting to be a problem. It's already a problem. Not to mention Latino voters. We've talked about that in the past.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, also, if you go back to, for example, depending on how far back you go, and this is the problem, we have all references available at louderwithcrowder.com, you can make something look however you want it to look. For example, if you go back to 1863, 100% of blacks were Republicans.
That's a fair point.
It's all context, folks.
They really had the platform.
Yes. And one black voter, of course, who has angered the left very much is Kanye West. Mm-hmm. Yesterday at the Yeezy, I think it's the season 9. I didn't remember the season. Season 9 of Yeezy, there's a show in Paris. He wore a shirt with the words, White Lives Matter.
Ah.
And then the other non-Democrat, Candace Owens, also appeared with Kanye wearing the matching shirt, White Lives Matter. Naturally, of course, the failed ESPN host Jamel Hill decided to take to Twitter to criticize Kanye. He said, so many black folks are trying to excuse Kanye wearing a White Lives Matter t-shirt as just a troll move or marketing. Maybe it is, but it's a dangerously dumb message to send for people with his massive platform. I've been off, dude, but y'all go ahead labeling his foolishness as genius. Here's the thing. Kanye West's genius didn't change. Back when this show was syndicated on radio, so I think in 2014, it was YouTube, then it was syndicated on radio, and then went back to, Mug Club. Turn on All of the Lights was the final song because it was morning and it was going. So I've always been, and I used to get crap for it. I've always been a fan. Kanye's a brilliant MC. I've liked hip hop. I've disagreed. Again, I've separated the art from the artist with Kanye West. I did that for a very long time. Yeah. Where I would say I think he's a moron because back then he said George W. Bush. George W. Bush doesn't care about black people. I said, well, that's a stupid thing to say. Whether you're a fan of George Bush, no one's a fan of George Bush. Whether you hate George Bush or not, to say that he doesn't care about black people is just not accurate. The guy appointed more black people to his cabinet than, at that point, I believe any other president in history. I could be off by a little bit, but it was certainly close. So I was able to separate the art from the artist. For some reason, though, they have to try and wipe out, memory hole the fact that Kanye is one of the most prolific hip-hop artists of our generation. Why? Because he thinks incorrectly. What's so dangerous? They say dangerous. What's dangerous about a black man saying that white lives matter? It's only dangerous if you buy into the leftist lie that anything other than Black Lives Matter, which, by the way, was a trademark Black Lives Matter. And if you look at the nonprofits and you look at the embezzling that took place, you look at people who've actually been charged, convicted with fraudulent financial crimes with the Black Lives Matter organization. If you don't buy what they sell wholesale, Black Lives Matter, anything else is considered racist. Anything else is considered white supremacy. Not only White Lives Matter, All Lives Matter was considered white supremacy. So him and Candace Owens must be some of those black white supremacists.
There's more of them than we thought. But you're right. It's the same. The shirt could be any color, right? And that's the whole reason that we said, whoa. Don't do that. That actually can be racist. How about just all lives matter? All lives matter. We can all get behind. Let's just make sure that all lives matter. That makes sure that no life is below another life. That should be common ground for everybody. It's not racist.
I think we all know that all lives don't matter. Let's not be stupid. But but putting that on the back of a shirt, it should at least show like, oh, are you triggered by that? Well, then think about how other people felt for the last 5 years.
Right.
It's like, oh, white people weren't dying. Yeah, they were. Asians weren't dying. Yeah, they were. Hispanics weren't dying. Yeah, they were.
And just think of the difference in the reaction to something like the piss Christ, or reactions to, comedians who would go out there and it's a comedic witch hunt. Donald Trump, he's Putin's cockholster from Colbert. Or you look at, hey, look, we're sticking it to the man. What? By making fun of white heterosexual Christians. Oh boy, yeah, you're really treading some new ground there. But if a black person goes out and says, hey, white lives matter. Well, hold on a second. This is a risk. I thought art was about taking risk. I thought art was about holding up a mirror.
Which is what he's doing.
In society. It's not acceptable. They don't want edgy. They want parroting of the propaganda talking points. That, to me, is what's most important to see here. We always hear about how these artists, I want to be free to be an artist. We just had Billy Eichner say, F you, F your Bible. I don't want you to go see my movie if you're a heterosexual, if you're a conservative Trump voter. And Kanye West, hey, look, obviously it's elicited a reaction, a response from you guys. What happened to art being edgy? What happened to art being risky? And honestly, I cannot remember. I genuinely, and you guys can I can't remember white pundits, white reporters, white anyone in the public sphere brutally attacking. I mean, just incessantly attacking any kind of a public figure who was black. They always tread very carefully, with the exception being that they are a conservative. Once that happens, you're treated just like a white guy, and it's open season.
Yeah, they're doing it right now with, first person that comes to mind is Herschel Walker. Whether he deserves it or not, different story, but he's a conservative, very outspoken. He's decided to do that. They did it with Larry Elder in California, the first, white.
Larry Elder's probably a better example.
Yeah, it's a better example. Herschel Walker, I'm not agreeing with. I'm just saying, you're making the point that they wouldn't do that for a Democrat. They're not doing it for Stacey Abrams with all the stupid stuff that she's doing. Right? They're doing it to Herschel Walker because he's a conservative.
You think Joe Biden would repeatedly use the N-word in front of Jean-Pierre like he did Clarence Thomas?
No.
Not saying he called him the N-word, but he used it.
Clarence Thomas is the other one.
Yeah, he used it pretty grossly in front of him.
Yes.
In front of that's a really awful clip.
He used it when he didn't have to use it.
That's exactly it.
And I don't believe that the N-word is one of the things that's completely off limits if it's said in context. Or, for example, of course, I'm a big fan of Kanye. Well, you don't think that I've said it when singing along by myself in my car to College Dropout? That's an appreciation for his art. I wouldn't walk up and say it to a black person. Joe Biden did. If you didn't see that, he did it with Clarence Thomas right there in front of his face.
Extraordinarily liberally.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, it was just flowed off the tip of his tongue.
It's uncomfortable, man. Yeah. I that was one of those clips where it really bothers me that anybody would be like, this guy is the voice for the black people.
Ben Carson, Herman Cain, Condoleezza Rice.
Anybody who happens to disagree and is black.
Yeah. Can you?
Condoleezza Rice got dragged over.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
She really did. And by the way, just before we leave, this isn't just an issue with black Americans. The pandering, and this is the thing, I think it's particularly an issue with black Americans because think about it, you hear them all the time say, keep it real. You hear that in hip-hop all the time, and white people for the longest time say, I don't know what that means, keep it real. There is a value of authenticity in the black community. That's why you're able to actually have conversations with them that don't necessarily just turn into a screeching match, unlike white liberals. Keep it real. They value authenticity. They can sense when something is completely inauthentic, like those clips that we just showed you. And I would say to maybe a lesser extent, but I still certainly would say Hispanics obviously value authenticity, and their support for Democrats has been cut in half in the past decade. This is according to an NBC Telemundo poll. 54% of Latino voters surveyed said they prefer Democrats to be in charge of Congress, compared with 33% who would prefer Republicans. That gap, it's only at 21 points now, was a 42-point difference in October 2012. And there are some municipalities we've covered in Texas,
that are worse.
In Arizona, where a majority of Hispanics support Republicans.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen if they continue using the term Latinx? It's not going to get any better. As a matter of fact, the only Democrat group, Stronghold, that has increased, the only one that has consistently increased, take a guess. Hey, if you're watching, I'm going to pause, and if you're not watching live, pause it. Okay? I want you to comment below. Which group do you think? Both sex and race.
You want drum roll?
Yeah, give me a drum roll.
Give me that.
That was fast. White suburban bitches. Exclusively.
Saw that one coming. Well, there's
not all of you watching, because I can see like, I'm white lady in the suburbs. I'm obviously not talking about you, but that's the problem. If you take it personally, it's statistical reality. Go ahead and clean house yourselves. White suburban women, you need to speak up more because your neighbors suck. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say Hispanics. I'm not surprised by that because everybody, my sister's married to a guy his family's from Mexico. They still live down on the border near Zapata, right?
Yeah.
They talk about this. Other people talk about this. They're the ones that don't like the immigration policy. Like,
Right.
don't have open borders like this. This is crazy. This is leading to people dying left and right and coyotes killing people, leaving them in trucks to die in the heat. If the police this is leading to really bad things.
I don't know how the coyote
in a fake tunnel.
Yeah.
I don't know how I don't know how the coyotes got a driver's license.
It's weird. Who knew, right? No, but they hate that. And so Dems are pushing the wrong policies across the board for these groups, thinking that they can pander enough to these groups and win them over. They're not even pandering in the right way.
No. Well, because they have to pander to too many different groups. You know who doesn't really like abortion up until and including birth period? Catholic Hispanics.
Yeah. It's
You know who doesn't like trans male to female athletes competing in women's sports? No, not white suburban bitches. That Gary Oldman quote is almost always appropriate, but not in this instance. Black women don't. You know what? More black women compete in sports, and certainly compete in sports at the highest level, and so they understand the difference.
For sure.
They're not for it. Black women, no group of men are for it. Black women weren't for it. I've never seen the numbers on Hispanic women. I'm sure they probably weren't for trans male athletes competing in women's sports. Yeah. Women, white women, the vast majority of whom do not compete in sports at a high level, said, no, you have to do it to be nice.
No.
That is the only, and they have, unfortunately, a disproportionately large amount of power that they wield at school boards. They wield administratively, same thing that you have in churches. And it's not representative of women of all other races. And the disconnect that is taking place between the Democratic Party and what they claim to have been their core voting base has changed. And so now the only people to whom they can pander are white, suburban women. Those are the only people who are buying the woke bullshit. Those are the only people who are watching steaming piles of dog crap like Hocus Pocus 2 and 3 more.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.